Hi everyone, I'm Gina Simmering, registered nurse and Walk with the Dog program coordinator at Boulder Community Health. But before we get started,
we got to make sure we're socially distanced, so we have our Boulder Community Health special measuring tape. So
there we go.
6 feet?
6 feet.
All right, excellent.
Okay, I'm here today with Dr. Nelson Trujillo, our dedicated Walk with the Doc leader and cardiologist with the biggest heart. We thought that this would be a great time to host a virtual Walk with the Doc as a way to stay connected with all of you. We miss you, we're thinking about you, and we can't wait till we can gather again in the future. So, in order to bring a little bit of sunshine to your screens, we thought that Dr. Trujillo could share some tips on how to safely stay active and how you can do your part to stay healthy during this unpredictable time. Dr. T?
Thanks so much for it, guys. It's so awesome to be with you guys, even though it's virtual. So before we get started, as always, we've got a couple of housekeeping things we got to take care of. First of all, we got to send out a big virtual thank you to all of our first responders, because we're all doing our part by being physically and socially isolated and doing all those right things, but those guys are out there on the front lines, and so we want to send them a big virtual thank you. So that's the first thing that's so important. And then the second big thing before we get started is for us all to take a big breath. Let's take a second big breath all together now. First thing I can say is that we are all scared. These are incredibly scary times. And so one more time, a third big breath just to calm ourselves down just a little bit. So all together. The next big thing we got to do before we get started, because I miss you guys so much, is I want you all to take your left hand and squeeze it around your right shoulder and your right hand around your left shoulder. And we need a big hug, a big virtual squeeze. Because at times like this, I just miss our big Walk with the Doc family, and I miss those hugs. And it's important for us to realize that we're not alone and we're all together in this. And we'll get through it all together. And later in the summer, when we're all together, looking back, we'll appreciate how close we became during this time. So Gina asked me to sort of put together a little chat as we think about how to stay healthy during this time. We've done two things already, which are incredibly important, and actually the most important. The first is to breathe. Taking time to breathe and realizing that for the here and now, we are here, we've got food on the table, and Boulder Community Health has really done an incredible job at preparing for whatever comes. And so we're really in the healthiest community, in the healthiest situation that we can be during these challenging times. So maybe one more time, our fourth big breath. It's going to be okay. Know that you're not alone and reach out. So in today's world, one of the great things is we're just a phone call or a text away. It's important to reach out to friends, to family, and just to touch base. The third thing is that, and I know for this for myself, at times like this, when I'm scared, one of the things I really want to do is eat. And I'll tell you, boy, my childhood addictions are just coming. I mean, I can't go into the grocery store and not think about Doritos or Sara Lee pound cake. And so one of the things that I think it's really important is, as we think about food, is that while it's important to nourish our bodies, it's to be careful, because at times like this, we can definitely start to use food to help manage that scary feeling. And so having a good diet, lots of fruits and vegetables, really being careful about what we're putting in our bodies will keep us healthy during these incredibly stressful times. Another important part is moving. And so movement is incredibly important. And as all of you know, I'm not a big fan of exercise. I love recess. And so now that we're at home, recess is something that's completely accessible to all of us. And so what does that look like? So I was just having a conversation a little bit ago with one of my favorite people who's 72, and she was telling me that she, when she was young, used to hula hoop. And so this is a great time for her to get her hula hoop out and for 20 minutes a day, crank up the tunes and to start to spin that body. So that's a great example of recess. If it means turning on the television and dancing, that's awesome. So we need to move about 20 minutes a day to keep going. Boulder Parks, who is one of our partners, are so awesome. You can see we're outside today, our appropriate distancing. Just getting out for a walk for 20 minutes in nature would be awesome. Even with our social distancing rules, you can get outside and take a little bit of a walk. The air will do you incredible good, as will that movement. These are really, really important things. Another thing that I think is incredibly important, especially in this current time, is we got to turn off some of the noise. So I don't know about you guys, but the telephone and our social media and the news, CNN, you know, it doesn't change much over the course of a day. And so I've started getting up in the morning, and for about 10 minutes, I take a look at the Washington Post, New York Times, Wall Street Journal. I might turn on CNN for a few minutes to get an update on what's going on, and then I turn that stuff off. And I don't look again until the end of the day. If you remember back in the old days, you know, we got news between 5 and 5:30 with Walter Cronkite, and it worked okay. And so I would remind you that we could get by without this constant news feed of what's happening with this virus and what's happening in our community. It's a great time to read a book. Crazy idea, I know, but if you know, there's that book stack that you've had by your bedside for a long time, good time to pick one of those up and let your mind come down a little bit. We will come through this all together. We're in a great community. Our Walk with the Doc community is awesome. There's lots of love out there, and we'll get through this together. So we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Gina and I are going to go out for a walk here with our special distancing to enjoy the beautiful day. I hope you guys get out there too, and we'll see you guys real soon. Any thoughts, Gina?
I do. I have a couple things to add.
Oh, how are you doing, by the way?
I'm doing good. So I'd like to echo a couple of the elements of staying well that Dr. Trujillo had mentioned. And that's the turning off the noise, the news. At the beginning of all of this, I was watching the news all day long and hooked to my phone, and I already have trouble sleeping, so that just compounded it. So limiting to morning and early evening has really helped me get better sleep. And a couple tips on exercising safely. If you can get out early in the morning when the crowds are less likely to be around, even though they shouldn't be, that's a good way to get in some healthy air without the fear of running into other people. And if you do have a buddy that you meet, I have a running buddy that I meet, you know, make sure you are staying 6 feet apart. And I also wanted to add that we are so excited to see you in the future. There will be the future, and we will get back together. My email address will be at the end of this video for those of you that have questions about the Walk with the Doc program, or if you just want to say hello. It might take me a little bit to get back to you, but I will get back in touch, and know that we're thinking about you. So you ready to get some steps?
Let's go.
Okay.
Woohoo!
6 feet.
6 feet, all right. You're too fast.